I rejected that name my entire life. I wanted to be famous as a child, and I have arguably the most famous name in the world, and I rejected it. I mean, I might actually cry during this interview because I just didn't realize that at that young age, that's when the conditioning and the programming started.
If we lose our tribe, especially at a young age, it is like equal to death.
Lisa McPhee, the CEO and business coach at Lisa McPhee Coaching Academy, where she helps high-achieving women turn their corporate experience into thriving coaching and consulting businesses. She also founded the Mona Lisa Experience, a private invitation-only space for accomplished women ready to reclaim their power and step into their next chapter.
Society, in the way we're taught growing up as young girls, young women, as we get into adulthood, we are pulled apart from our truth.
I have 7 days on the beach to really reflect on my life and decide not just what do I want to do, but who do I want to be?
And so you're creating this Mona Lisa project. What's the Mona Lisa project all about?
The Mona Lisa, oh my gosh, thank you so much for asking. The Mona Lisa experience is...
Enough already! You've worked harder, stayed later, smiled through it, you've shrunk yourself, you've over-explained yourself, you've apologized for yourself, and still walked away feeling like you were the problem. You weren't. You've been playing by rules that were never designed for you, and you're exhausted. You're done. I'm Coach Mo Fall, and this is Enough Already, the podcast for women who are done performing and ready to heal, reclaim, and redefine what their life actually gets to look like when you step into your real power. No more shrinking, no more trying to be less or more, or whatever they need you to be. We're going to name exactly what happened, get free from it, and figure out what comes next. This is your space. This is your moment. Women, we are rising. Let's get into it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this podcast episode featuring my good friend, Lisa McPhee. We are collectively, the two of us, singing the Enough Already theme song. I don't know that we have a theme song, but we're making it. Lisa McPhee and I met in a coaching mastermind years ago, and we've kept in touch because we were just sort of like sisters doing our thing, and we both have corporate backgrounds. Lisa has since then made some shifts and changes in how she coaches her women clients, and we're going to learn about Lisa and what she does, but we're going to talk about your power. Lisa, welcome, and tell us a little bit more about you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. It's so nice to see you, and it's so nice to be here. My name's Lisa McPhee, and I'm a business coach, and I work with women who, that's how we met. I'm a business coach. I specifically work with women who've left corporate because they decided they had enough of that, and they want to start an online coaching, consulting, or advisory services business. And I help them leverage their corporate experience because we're never starting over, Mo. Right. Leverage the corporate experience and build something that they're proud to tell their friends about, that is profitable and scalable because we didn't leave one job to trade time for money ever again.
Yes, love it. I love those sound bites. So Lisa, you and I basically do the opposite thing. I effectively help women stay in their corporate roles and learn how to do it better, easier, etc. Take some of the friction out of it by being in their soul self, being in their power. We'll toss back and forth sort of how we view that. But you recently sent an email out.
I did.
That really stuck in me because the truth that you revealed is what every woman needs to understand. And it's what I talk about fairly regularly. But I thought, you know what, let me get Lisa's voice here on this because what you wrote about was absolutely like truth pudding. I mean, just everything about it was such truth. And I think you should start to when you were a little girl. Let's start there and then we'll get to the email because you shared with me something that we've talked about a couple of times. Start with when you were a little girl, what did you enjoy doing? Because that's actually some of my work is to help women go there because that's our soul. That's our essence of where our power is. And you basically said that without drawing that conclusion. But let's go there. What was your thing when you were a little girl?
When I was a little girl, I absolutely loved being on the stage. And I joke that I've never met a microphone that I didn't love. And I just loved performing. I think I loved performing because I wanted to get out of the environment I lived in. It wasn't soul filling, let's just say. And I just loved performing and being on stage. And the thing that I wanted the most in the world when I was a child was to be famous. And which is hilarious because my full legal name is Mona Lisa McPhee. And I rejected that name my entire life. I built a career around Lisa McPhee. My brand is built around Lisa McPhee. Nobody knows me as Mona Lisa until now. I just decided that what in the world? I wanted to be famous as a child, and I have arguably the most famous name in the world, and I rejected it.
Why did you reject it, do you think? Like, what's the reflection
I'm
now?
going to
Because,
tell you. Yeah,
yeah,
I know
your email was just, to me, mind-blowing, a revelation. So how did that happen to you?
I
How did you get
rejected it because it was too big. It was too much. It was too famous. And I had been told as a child that I was too big, too much, too bold, too loud. Like when I mean, I might actually cry during this interview because I just didn't realize that at that young age, that's when the conditioning of the programming started. Be small, stay safe. It didn't feel safe to be fully expressed. And I was, a young child. And so, of course, that just continued into my adult life.
right? If you look back on the mechanisms that you had to deploy to stay small and the narratives you had to create, and then I wanna take you to your corporate life as well. But what were some of those contraptions you had to create to stay safe? You wanted to be famous, you wanted to be big, but you felt that wasn't safe. What else did you have to do to, like, make that whole thing come together so that you could stay safe and stay small?
Well, I never really felt like I belonged in my family. And so I come from a really small community. Like I grew up in a very rural place in Eastern Canada. And it didn't feel there was nowhere else to go, right? So if I wasn't safe or didn't feel like I belonged, I had to do, or I felt like I had to do anything in my power to continue to belong. Does that make sense? Like,
Absolutely,
yeah,
because that's if we lose our tribe, especially at a young age, it is, like, equal to death.
yeah,
And if we get sort of kicked out or we're too ostracized or marginalized, it is a death zone. Our belonging to our tribe, our family of origin, when we're young is like everything. You eventually got yourself into college and a career. Tell me about that first cycle of Lisa being a young adult and what your corporate first couple of years may have looked like that you had to fit into a suit in a
yeah.
channel, right?
Oh, wow, that's so wild. Okay, you're really taking me back. I love it. So I was the first one in my family to go to college. I paid my way. I got my student loan. I did everything I had to do because I felt like that was my exit out. Like that was my way out of my small town. And my first, wow, you're really bringing me back. My first corporate job, I felt like, so I moved to Toronto and I got my corporate job, and it was in high-rise building in downtown Toronto, and I felt like I made it. I felt like I made it. The bright lights, big city, it was everything I dreamed about as a child. And so for the first couple of years, I felt like I'm living in a place that's too big for me. I felt like I didn't belong again. I
Right.
almost felt like, "What's
Different
this?"
way, but yeah.
Like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
everything I wanted, but I felt like I didn't belong there. Like, I'm just this little country bumpkin. What am I even doing here? How did I talk my way into this job? How did I get myself into this office? And it was very much wear the suit, wear the dark colors. I remember specifically just wearing something a little loud once and being talked to. Not talked to, but being I was definitely told that it was a little out there. And so I never did that again. And this is old school Mo. Like I'm 56 years old. So it wasn't just,
Look,
I
you're talking to me. I was there, okay?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I bought into this narrative. I didn't
Sure.
have any examples of express
Yeah.
yourself freely or
Right.
be yourself. So
Right.
when somebody who's twice my age is saying to me, this is a little much, then guess what? I was a little much.
So you shrink again and you're like, "Oh, I know how to do this. I know how to accommodate to my expected container." And so how many years were you in corporate? How long did that sort of playing the game
25
thing go
years,
for you?
I'd say. 25. So
25.
like from 25 to I left corporate when I was 49 because I was very aware I was turning 50 and I wanted to be in a different space. Yeah.
And you decided, okay, this is no longer a container that I want to be in.
Yeah.
But you're still then dealing with the layers that were on top of you, sort of like coming off of like 100 blankets of a nap.
Yeah.
So there were probably a few layers that were exposed when you first left corporate.
Oh, that's so funny. So like
That's such
imagine
an understatement, Mo.
yeah, because imagine like, okay, now I've risen to the top. Like now I really did make it. Meaning I had the salary, I had the title, I worked for a global consulting firm. I had the corporate Amex, I had the platinum points, like all of the things that my 7-year-old self just would never even have been able to dream that big, you know? And now I'm turning 49 or I'm turning 50. I was 49 and I went on this retreat and as soon as I got there, so I thought I was going to a fitness retreat. You know, I thought I was
Oh,
just going to eat
okay.
healthy and work out. And
Okay.
it was the first time I'd actually invested in a vacation like that. That was kind of a little bit of personal development. But when I say personal development, I thought it was working out. But what happened is I landed, my phone was buzzing, and I found out that my 39-year-old cousin passed away.
Oh.
And he left behind an 8-year-old daughter that he was the sole parent of.
Ooh.
And so it was because that happened at the same time that I was on this trip, you know, my choices were get on a plane, right back on a plane or go to the paradise basically. And I had this weird,
Oh,
just
wow.
what am I going to do now? Anyway,
Yeah.
I chose to continue the trip because I'd made other arrangements with my family. And because that had happened, it really made me pause and think, what do I really want to do with my life? Like, is this it? You know? So it's kind of like my cousin passing and knowing that I was turning 50, like I've done
Is this
everything
a
I wanted.
classic midlife crisis type of situation?
But it was like, yeah, like but
Yeah.
I didn't go there with any of these thoughts or intentions. That's what's so
Right.
wild about it.
Yeah.
And when I really had, so now I have 7 days on the beach to really reflect on my life and decide not just what do I want to do, but who do I want to be? Like, who do I want to be in this world? You know? And I got on the plane 7 days later and came home a completely different person. It's wild.
It's interesting that, I mean, when you go on these trips, even though you're consciously thinking it's just a fitness vacation or something, to me, there's this soul that's pulling you forward. There's this other energy that you can't maybe consciously connect with yet because let's face it, the corporate journey you had disconnected you from the best parts of you. And you're now thinking, well, that sort of didn't feel right and nice. So now I'm a different version of Lisa. You come back and you decide that you are going to
Start a business.
become a consultant.
Uh, yeah, I
Was
was
that
a
later?
consultant.
Was that later?
That is so interesting. No, because I was a consultant. Like I was a management
Yeah.
consultant and
Right.
what I wanted to do was build an online business, like an online coaching business. But what's so interesting, Mo, is I didn't even call myself a coach for the first 2 years of my business. I didn't call myself a coach because my identity was so tied to being a consultant that I couldn't do it. I felt like I didn't even know how to be a coach. Right. And this is around the time when I met you. And you were like this big, amazing, like in your power coach. And I remember thinking, I can never be her. I mean, not that we should be each other, but do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you
Yeah.
were really like into this identity, at least from my perspective.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
just trying to figure it out. I was like,
Right.
I'm not a CEO, but I'm calling myself a CEO. Who the heck do I think I am? I'm not a coach because I've been a consultant for the past gajillion years, like, so who the heck am I? I know how to tell you what to do, but I no
Right.
longer want to be that person. So
Right.
it was exciting, but it was also terrifying. Like if I'm not
And disruptive.
it was so disruptive.
Yeah. We probably met when I was like maybe 5 or 6 years in my journey of this. And I had intentionally left my corporate world after 30 years to help inspire other women to be all that they could be. I didn't know what was going to eventually come into play, but after doing this for 4 or 5 or 6 years, I pretty much had it dialed in. I was helping women up-level their careers. And the message that I was bringing was what helped transform my career, which was the soul messages that I get when I was recovering from my double mastectomy. So I had a real, I call it disruption, disease, divorce, or death. Like the D's are what usually bring us to our knees, which opens up our soul. So I claimed that inner me gradually as I was wrapping up my career. So the past 7 or 8 years of my career, I was putting this soul thing together, and it worked. It worked for my leaders who reported to me, and I'm like, "Whoa, this really works." So I was dialed in as a career coach and someone helping women become more visible, effective leaders. And then you show up still in your disruption phase, and I'm delighted that there was some type of inspiration. But on one hand, you were still trying to figure out who you were going to be.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
So what did you dial in first? What was the first piece where you feel like, yeah, I can help other women do this?
Well, I have a real connection. Like, I think that's probably the only part of my soul that was dialed in was I really did believe and know in my soul and in my being that I could help other women stand in their power. Because even when I was a kid, I'm the oldest child of 3. I've always identified as a leader, and I've always been told that I'm inspiring. And so that's something that I already felt in my heart. So it kind of started with, okay, I know I can do that. Like at a minimum, I know that I can help people. I know that people respond to my heart, and that's the one part that was dialed in. But I mean, like most people, I started with strategy, and then when the strategy wasn't working, even though it was dialed in, I mean, it worked until it didn't
Mhm.
because I wasn't connected to myself. So
Yeah.
it kind of went, my journey was learned all the strategy. That was great, dialed in. And then when that stopped working, I knew that I had to go inward. And
Yeah.
yeah, because if you would have told me at the beginning that I had to go inward, I would have just poo-pooed that. I was not ready. I needed to,
Right. Yeah.
I needed to
I
move.
mean, and I think what happens, I don't know if this is more profound with women. I tend to think that it is, but I know men when they're trying to capture that next level, they have to do inner work too. This is not only a women's thing, but I work mostly exclusively with women. I think you do too. And so society and the way we're taught growing up as young girls, young women, as we get into adulthood, we are pulled apart from our truth. You wanted to be someone, you wanted to be famous, you wanted to have a voice, and it was like, "Nope, you can't. Play smaller, play smaller, play smaller." You're like, "How am I ever gonna get to that place that I know I should be?" And and because we're pulled apart, it takes some time to bring our power back with our self,
Yeah.
like the self that we have created to get along and do stuff. And so as you began to come into that inner knowingness, which again is why I loved that email that you sent out about your name.
Yeah.
It was the truth.
Yeah.
So tell us the truth about how you finally claimed who you are.
It's not a linear process. So it's so
Well,
hard
that's
to
true.
really identify. Like, I don't even think I can talk about it step by step. I will say that I just decided. Like, I just decided,
You
like,
became ready.
I am done. Like, I'm done. I was just tired of my own BS.
Uh-huh.
I was
Yeah.
tired of just not doing what I came here to do. I feel like I understand the mission now. I understand the mission. I know what my
Yeah.
messaging is. I know what my
Yeah.
positioning is. And my name
Yeah.
is Mona Lisa. Like, what the actual heck, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
my name is everything, and I
Yes.
wasn't claiming it. So if I'm not claiming my name, then what else am I rejecting? All of
Right.
me.
Right. Yes. It's funny because you you saying that your name Mona Lisa was exactly the container you needed to move into to play the game of life to the level that feels right for you. And when I was in corporate, I was Maureen, and I always felt that was my name, but it always felt like clunky. And my family and friends called me Mo. So every time I was Maureen, I was like, that doesn't sound like me. So when I started doing coaching, I was like committed. I'm going to be Mo because that's the name that I resonate with. So my name, Mo, which is smaller than Maureen by letters, but it allowed me the license, the freedom to be all the parts of me instead of Maureen, like this formal. I have one client who calls me Maureen, and every time she says my name, I'm like, what? Like I have a disassociation for like 10 seconds going, who is that?
That's
And it's so funny.
funny.
It just dawned on me that my formal name felt like a small, tight little package, and your given name felt like too big of a container at one point, and then it felt like I need to move into that container.
Yeah.
So embracing Mona Lisa, what else lifted in you that allowed you to claim your power? Because that's really what we're talking about here. Is how do women claim their power? So how did that sort of feel and elevate you, and just give us some of that, the back of that story?
It felt a little bit too much at first, right? I had to work my way into it. But then when I started thinking about it, like, okay, so now I'm not even talking about me in my mind. I was just kind of working through it. Okay, what is she even known for? Why do people even care about her? I mean, it's just I have a picture with painting. It's the smallest little thing. Why is she so famous? And so I started really kind of dissecting the painting and just the aura around her, which is, she's mysterious, she's complex, she's layered. People don't really know who she is. They don't really know her
Right.
story. And that isn't that all
They don't
of
even
us?
know the emotion she's trying to project on the canvas, right? It's always this, is she serious? Is she unhappy? Is she trying to smile? Like,
Is she
right?
trying to tell us something? Yeah. And so once I just started thinking about that, I really related that to all of us. Like, we're all layered, we're all complex, we're all projecting a little bit, right? To
Yeah.
belong. And so I just
Right.
the more that I thought about that, the more I just thought, I'm just going to do the things that I know that I was called to do, which is, inspire people, help people step into their power. But it starts with me. It starts with me claiming mine, stepping into mine, and just owning it.
And there's no journey that's over. So even though our first encounter, you're like, oh, she has her act together, she's dialed or whatever. Like then, and then, complexity challenge. And then am I going to grow to meet that? Or am I going to go, oh no, I don't want to grow again. So I'm a little bit of a tenacious gal. Wee bit, big
That's
bit.
what I love about you. Yeah.
So I kept meeting those challenges head on and trying to learn my lesson, go through it. I just wrapped up my client retreat. And to me, when I do those type of intimate settings, we had 22 women there. I see who I have become since the previous one last year. I see how different. And the couple of clients who've known me for years, I've gals who've been with, in the retreat like 9 years, 8 years, 7 years in a row. And they make that statement to me. And I'm delivering coaching and internal work. And yet I'm at the same time recognizing the path that I have chosen. And as you said earlier, you cannot deliver results for clients to the level you want to unless you really commit to your journey. And that is increasing your power, not power domination power as in the power of the person. And what you just said a few seconds ago, I believe that we all have like a soul promise. And it's up to us to find that and to get connected with that and then to live from that place. So your promise is to lead women to expressing themselves fully and help them create a business that is an extension of who they are.
Yeah. And as long as you're doing that, you will always be successsul because you will always be there's only one you, right? You're one
Right.
of
One of
one.
one.
And
Yep.
so I always believe I know what connected us. I always believe there's room for everyone, right? Just why I'm building this whole Mona Lisa experience, because we've been told there's only so much room at the table. So now we're just going to build our own. Being fully expressed is our gift to the world. Like it really, really is.
Right. And I know, hearing you say that, knowing you're a woman, hearing myself receiving that and going, oh, does that sound self-centered and arrogant? And then I'm like, well, of course not, because I get it. I mean, that's really at the soul level. It's not an ego play. It's a soul level expression. My promise for this life was to be all who I can be. The gifts that our creator gave us, how can I express that? What's my truth? And what is my current channel? And it's interesting because, again, we do like sort of opposite things for helping professional women succeed. I want to help a woman navigate the complexities of the corporate landscape because to me, that's a game worth playing. And if women do it well, they can do quite well for themselves.
Yeah.
And every single challenge is an opportunity to say, wait a minute, I need to learn how to be a better communicator. Wait a minute, I need more confidence walking into that meeting. Wait a minute, I need to learn how to have people to be able to get into me. So all of the aspects, I need to ask for more money and feel confident and know how to do that. I need to own my worth. Like all of those pieces are escalators for a woman getting into her power. And it makes it easier to come up the career ladder when you do the inner work. And so you're creating this Mona Lisa project, and your intention with that comes out of claiming your name.
Yes. Yes.
So what's the Mona Lisa project all about?
The Mona Lisa. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for asking. The Mona Lisa experience is my life's work. It really, really is. So it's a 6-month experience where women we meet in person and I'm so excited to talk about this. We meet in person and we go to this women's retreat, which is it's in Canada. It's built into the Canadian Shield. Like the land itself has really special energy. And when we get there, I've hired a photographer to take a photo of you, like do a little photo shoot so that you have a physical asset of who you were when you landed, because who you were when you landed is not going to be who you are in 6 months. A physical asset. And then we have a beautiful day of vision casting and dreaming together, because here's what my experience has been. It's not about workshopping. It's about giving yourself the time and the space and the permission to dream, right? To get, as you said, to get back to that child that had big dreams and big aspirations. And it had nothing to do with money necessarily, which doesn't mean you don't get to have money. You can have it all, but you can have money, you can have love, like whatever your big dreams are, but give yourself permission to dream. And then we're going to, the evening's going to be, I have a local Toronto celebrity chef is coming and he's going to do this farm to table dining experience. And the whole day is just going to be magical. And then we're going to meet throughout the next 6 months to really have women and help women and support women step into the next version of themselves, whatever that looks like for you, right? Like very, very similar. And then we're going to meet again it's 6 months later for a Michelin star dinner, because I'm all about food and, the whole dining experience. And then take another photograph to see who you are today. So you get to really see, this is who you were when you started. This is who you were today. And then we roll into the holidays, really feeling good about ourselves and feeling like we record this in 2026, you made a promise to yourself and now we get to celebrate it.
That's really, really curious about the picture, because we had women take a picture at the beginning of our 12-week program.
Oh, I love that.
And they did a future self letter. And 12 weeks later, even less than in many cases, these women looked 10 years younger. One of our clients said that she used her facelift fund to pay for the coaching. And I said to her, good, because you're going to get a better facelift than you could with a surgeon. And their faces changed so much. And as a matter of fact, I just mentioned how I have clients who come back to my retreat every year. Those women they're more grounded, they're more present, their face is less stressed. They just look younger and more thriving. So I know you're going to have massive shifts in how these women look 6 months. And working with them to help them come into their power and their truth. And you're definitely going to see transformations in 6 months with those women.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that you did the photo. That's so
it's and I got inspired to do that because I noticed that women's faces were changing. And I'm like, wait a minute, we should probably do a photo at the beginning. And we started doing that. And then some of the women said, can I do a video? We're like, sure, do a video. Their voices changed.
Yeah.
Their faces changed.
Yeah.
Their ability to express themselves, like everything changed. And of course, that's the promise of my work, is that will happen through the inner work. And then I do soul and then strategy. And that's what you and I talked about before we got on to the recording of this podcast, is we are both now basically claiming women getting into your power. First of all, it takes time. You gotta give yourself the time to do it. And it's well worth the time. Well worth, because you're going to gain so much as a thriving human being. And as you know, Lisa, once you're in your power, once you're in your truth, your decisions get better. Your ability to love people and the right people gets better. Your ability just to make any decision about your life, it just comes from a place of truth versus, I don't know, should I? Is this wrong? Should I? Like, intellectualizing everything is like really stressful.
And
When you
yeah.
bring it into your truth, it's so much easier to live that way.
Yeah, it's exhausting to live from here when we can connect to here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I didn't even know you did that. Of course you do.
It was so obvious to do it because we saw what was happening. And so if we were to say to women right now, becoming a more powerful version of you, what should they stop doing?
Stop asking others what you should do. And
Stop asking for permission too, right?
stop
Like,
asking for permission. You know
yeah,
the answer. I literally say
yeah.
this to my kids, like, you know the
Mhm.
answer. I mean, they're adults, right? So they don't need me to tell them. But you know
But
the
they
answer.
still might come back for that reassurance. But that's just the thing that stops us from being fully actualized. And when we're like, what should I do? So women, stop asking for permission to be all that you are. And what should they start doing? What should women start doing?
Start trusting yourself. And if you don't know
Ooh.
how to do that, then start developing the skill of trusting yourself.
So we're gonna have a thematic takeaway here.
Okay.
And you and I are going to say our version of this.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone listening to this podcast, please hear me now. Your power is something that when you're in it, you will feel better than you felt in any other aspect of your life in any way. And I'm talking about the best sex you've had doesn't compare to you being in your soul and in your power. So please take away the motivation to understand that when you pursue your internal power mechanism, I call it your soul, that will be the best thing that you've ever decided to do. And no one can take that from you. When you decide to be in your power, that is your permanent insurance policy. It is your permanent security. It is you taking full responsibility for your life, how you will live, decisions, who you will love, blah, blah, blah. That's what I would like everyone who's listening to this episode to consider, that committing to being in your power is not only the best decision, it is the best life that you could ever have. So what's your version of claiming that? Or maybe you want another takeaway.
No, I love that. I love that. I think that my biggest takeaway is, yeah, standing in your power and trusting yourself, like just trusting yourself, trusting that you've got you and you are here to do good work. You are a brilliant, beautiful human, that when you are living in your truth, and your truth is yours. And when you own that, you call your people in, you protect yourself and your loved ones, you stand up for yourself in a way that calls you people in, and you are so inspiring to others just by being yourself. Like, what a wonderful, beautiful way to live.
Yeah. I have a client who's right now interviewing for her second dream job. She's interviewing for her second one. And she put a number on the table with the recruiter that she only imagined she'd ever make.
Yeah.
And she said to me, Mo, I did it fully confident, fully capable, and fully knowing that that's the number I should be paid for the work I do and the experience I bring to the table. It was so easy.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. The things that have been out of our reach because we haven't been in our power become easy.
Yeah. And you know what? I bet she'll get that job and she will get that money, and there won't even
She'll
be
be so aligned. She'll be so aligned.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm so happy you wrote that email about your name. and knowing that you are Mona Lisa and that your Mona Lisa experience is the next container and energy that you're providing for special women to really own that 6-month journey to arc themselves and to see what's possible from dream to reality over those 6 months. So I really congratulate you on creating that opportunity for women. And where can people find you, Lisa, if they would like to know more?
Well, I hang out mostly on LinkedIn. You can send me a DM there. I'm on all socials, not Mona Lisa. Lisa McPhee. LisaMcPhee.com. You can find out more about the Mona Lisa experience at don't forget the Mona Lisa experience.com. And my DMs are open. Honestly, I love talking to people. I'm one of these weird people, Mo, who actually talk to people on social media.
You're such a people person. I mean, that anyone listening or watching, I'm sure they're seeing your people magnet coming out, because that's one of the natural gifts that you have, is how easily you connect with people and that you want to.
I love it.
That's your thing. Folks, if you're listening to this, mofall.com/Moby is what I want you to know about. That is my AI 24/7, all my hours of coaching wrapped up into a really smart AI knowledge base that is private between you and Moby. Our clients are loving it. It's a spectacular way to get on the spot coaching. I had a woman who went to India for a business meeting, and she was meeting someone for the first time, one of the leaders in her India contingent. And she was so nervous about what to say to him. She said to Moby, "I'm meeting this guy, la la la, this is his title, this is da 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 da." And Moby said, "Sure, here's what you should ask him and talk to him about at dinner." She said something she would have never guessed, or she would have felt a little bit awkward. Moby gave her all the right answers, all the right scripts. She said the meeting went well. She felt really relaxed. And she said, "You know what? Next time I have a meeting like that, I've already had my first practice." So that's the beauty of women being in their power and using a tool and continuing to evolve and grow. So, Lisa, this has been a joy.
So fun. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so great
Getting
to
to
be
speak
here.
to you, get to hear more of your story and hearing about your latest with the Mona Lisa experience and just seeing you shine. And it's really great.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
The Mona Lisa experience. And we will see you folks next time. Now, remember, enough already with not being in your power. Let's go, ladies. Thank you again, Lisa McPhee, for stopping by.
If today's episode hit home, share it with a woman who needs to hear it. Because the best thing we can do is make sure no woman sits alone in an experience that has a name. You've been listening to Enough Already. I'm Coach Mo Fall. Please subscribe and like and comment so this can be sent to more women just like you who needs to hear there is a different way. Take good care.